Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to session 0 of Order of Mamoru. We will be jumping into the Discord's call in any second. But I hope your Saturday morning, evening, afternoon, Friday night, whatever time it is, wherever you are, is going well. And yeah, let's dive on in there.
Speak of the devil.
Hello.
Hello there.
He said it. He did it.
Hello. General Kenobi.
Hello there.
Fucking did it.
I will say, Sylvian, you're... I don't know if it's just me, but you sound very broken up. Let me, Oh, you sound great.
I was gonna say, I don't think I sound super broken up. I think my mic monitoring might be working extra hard because of the box fan that is currently behind me.
Okay.
So I think my like I said, the word that I'm looking for is working extra hard.
That's all good.
Because of that fan.
All good. You sound good. All right. Well, looks like everyone's here. We're missing one person off of the Foundry, I think.
That would probably be me.
Paula, yeah.
Yep.
But yes, welcome to the session 0 of Order of Mamoru. We'll be going over a couple of things in terms of the logistics of the campaign and such. And also, I guess I just want to establish your characters and their knowledge of one another, I guess, is a good way to put it. So, let's dive in, I guess. Before we do, does anyone have any questions? It's okay if you don't, because your questions may be answered during this session 0. And naturally, there will be time at the end to ask any questions as well. Or even during.
I always have questions, I just don't know what they are until they pop up.
That's fine.
There's always questions. It's just like, what? Which one?
Okay, so the first bullet point I want to touch on is, unfortunately, the twice in Discord won't be able to join us for the sort of 6-session campaign. Work has gotten in the way, and unfortunately they're not going to be able to commit to the vast majority of the sessions. The other thing that I want to establish, and this is more so for the campaign itself, and something for you to think about, I'm hoping some of you have already thought about it. Otherwise, take this moment and take the period of the session 0 as time to think about your inciting incident. The thing that got you noticed, the incident that brought attention to you as an individual as to why someone might want you to join an ancient order that is very rarely recruited for. And we'll go into some more of the specifics in regards to that later on. It's not the end of the world if you don't think of anything today, but I would like something set in stone at some point. And it works best with what I have planned at the end of the session 0 in terms of a storytelling standpoint. So I guess just to go over it, you are one of many groups being tested for the Order of Mamoru. You're not part of the order yet, but you've been honoured with the opportunity to potentially join them. Not many get honoured with this opportunity. Usually it only comes around once in a human's lifetime, at least. As you all know, it will be 6 sessions. To go into a little bit more detail in regards to the structure of the campaign in terms of what to expect, each session will either focus on a particular event, request, mission, or quest, and will potentially span months, if not an entire year. That's each individual session. The idea is that after most, if not all sessions, you'll go up a level, though this may change when it comes to balancing encounters and such. As with most other campaigns, sessions should last around 3 to 4 hours. Though, as long as there's flexibility on your side, there may be flexibility on my side as well. It has the potential of running up to that later 4-hour mark, depending on events, I guess. Most importantly, I guess, again, just to touch back onto the lore of this, and almost to refer back to the inciting incident for you all individually. You've all been handpicked by the Order of Mamoru. They watch, they look, they research the people they invite to join the Order. It is important to note that not one of you will be a leader in terms of this Order. The Order is very... It's built on the idea of teamwork and the team and the many coming before the few. If one member of the group fails, then the group fails. If a member of the group succeeds, then the group succeeds. You're not competing against one another. You're wanting to shine as a group, not as individuals, I should probably say. As also explained, but I guess just to put it out there in the world, you are to be honourable, respectable, and be a beacon of strength. You are not only a protector of a sword, but more importantly, a protector of the history the sword represents. With that said, I guess with that, actually, does anyone have any questions on the back of that?
All good so far.
Alright.
I was going to
but not over that. But go ahead.
I was gonna say, since like you said, it's been watching and stuff. Warriors. I might have to rethink a little bit about Livanda, because of how I was kind of going originally with my thing. I was under the impression that can I get to the I was under the impression, my brain was at least, that it wasn't just like, hey, this person is absolutely very strong, absolutely very honorable. I was thinking also this person has like never mind. It's
Are you referring to mind over strength?
yes.
Yes, that is when I refer to strength, I mean strength of mind and body.
Okay.
Which we'll go into very soon. Or at least it'll be very minorly touched upon. So don't worry in terms of that. They respect strategy and mind just as much as they respect someone who can punch someone very hard or swing a sword very proficiently.
Yeah, because originally that's kind of what I was going for
Yeah.
character. But...
You're good. You're good.
I had a question as well.
Sure.
Could you go over the plan for today's session, like in a bit more detail, so that I have a better idea when I should ask certain questions, because I don't really want to ask things that will be covered later.
What was that? Sorry.
Could you go in some more detail over what we're gonna talk about today?
Okay. Yeah.
Because I
So
don't want to like ask things that will just be handled later, right?
yeah. So the next couple of steps, we're going to be introducing you to important information in terms of the lore, the world, the people that you would know that is associated to the Order of Mamoru, including some items and sorting your inventory out. We're going to be sorting that out, and then there'll be a point where you can we can discuss. We'll be able to introduce one another to your characters, etc., etc. I'll be doing an actual proper introduction in world, shall I say, to the campaign itself. So I would say if you have any further questions in regards to just like what the campaign is going to entail in terms of like the logistics side of things, then by all means ask away. There's obviously going to be some questions that I won't answer if it's going to be like too spoilery. But yeah.
Questions were about the setting, so since that's next, I'll just wait.
Yeah. So with that said, it doesn't have to be decided right now. It doesn't have to be decided right this second. But you are going to be starting with either a +1 weapon or a +1 armor. Completely your choice. With that said, it's important to note that these weapons aren't magical, though of course on D&D Beyond or wherever you add them, it's going to be considered a magical weapon or magical armor. It's more so just to represent the masterful forgery and craft that has been put into the weapon or armor that you decide to choose.
Like Mastercraft from...
Yeah, there's
earlier
Mastercraft.
Yeah. I don't think there is in 5e.
No?
Nope.
No.
Unfortunately not. But yes, so have a think about that. Add it to your D&D Beyond character sheet whenever you wish. And yeah. Also,
I might need a bit of a hand with that when it comes down to it, by the way.
sure, yeah, no problem. Along with that, let me just quickly grab someone's character sheet. I would say for the most part, if you start with your normal starting equipment, just so you have a base of items, I should say. But there is going to be opportunity to upgrade this, as much as it is a much more linear campaign, should I say, compared to some of my others. There's still going to be the opportunity to, go to a store and upgrade, or perhaps a more organic way of upgrading weapons or armor will arise during the campaign. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of the campaign that is brushed over, so I'm not going to roleplay any store clerks, for example, most likely, just because it doesn't benefit the story and it just slows things down, really. But yeah, we can deal with that as it comes along. For gold, just for the sake of things, I would start you all with 50 gold pieces. And much like a lot of the other campaigns, though it's been a while for some of you since starting those campaigns, if you feel, and you can raise it now, if you feel like your character would, due to who they are, what they've done, and whatnot, if you feel like they would start with a certain item or piece of equipment, then by all means argue your case to me, because I'm usually quite open with that stuff when starting. So does anyone want to raise anything now in terms of starting equipment? I will take your silence as a no. So, just bear with me one moment. Guess I will ask the question. Does everyone... Or I'll ask it this way. Does anyone not have an inciting incident? Oh.
That's gonna be what got
Go
us
on.
noticed, right?
Yes. Sorry, were you saying sorry?
And I would not.
Okay. What we might do then, in that case, is... I guess, although I know some of you were already in the chat beforehand, but I guess if people want to introduce themselves, because what I might do is take you into a secret channel, just you and I will hash some stuff out for like 5 minutes or so, just see if we can get somewhere in terms of an inciting incident. If not, then we will leave for another day. But yeah, I guess Ziggy, do you want to introduce yourself, the character that you will be portraying? You don't have to reveal too much information, but perhaps a physical description and name, and maybe even a personality trait that that the group would obviously see when first meeting your character.
Okay, so Ziggy. He's about 6'8". He's got some blue scales going on. He's a dragon man. He's got golden eyes. And the one thing you definitely notice is that he just always has a pretty big grin on his face. He's always happy to see everybody. And he just likes hanging around.
Just likes hanging around. That's what I like from my dragon people. Lurkers.
Workers in chat, press F.
Alrighty. How about I'll just go down the alphabetical order. So Balshor.
Ah, that's me, Balshor.
Oh yes.
Balshor is a furbolg with a strong physique, and he's very serious most of the time, and has a very strong sense of duty, and is very very focused on what's in front of him, and very just kind of observant.
Mm-hmm.
Just keeps everyone on their toes. Having served as a soldier, he is very familiar with duty and the responsibility of being in a team and fighting with people alongside him. And he is in his older years as his hairs have grown a little bit white, and sorry, and he just he just takes everything very seriously. He doesn't want someone to get hurt by not paying attention or something.
Cool. Some of these names I'm going to need help with pronouncing. Darshana?
You got it right.
Hey. Look at me.
Yep. Darshana, she's got white hair. It's longer in the front, shorter in the back. Tends to wear fairly, like, flowy, very monk-esque outfits that are kind of in a like very pale teal or white color with some earth tones. She carries quarterstaff. She's tattooed, pretty heavily, though it's only a shade darker than her actual skin tone. There's like flowing like lines all over her skin. And as for personality, she's very serious. She just kind of she doesn't talk much. When she does, it's usually to say something that she thinks is important. Whether anyone else does or not is up to them. And she's standard. I don't like taking anyone's crap, and I generally am just here to do my duty and uphold my honor. She's nicer than she sounds, I swear.
Lavanda? Leovanda?
You're gonna. So here's the thing: is I have a very specific way of it's pronounced. It's Leovanda.
Leovanda?
If you remember our last session,
Like
you're gonna
it's-
have problems with
Yeah.
We don't-
Leovanda.
We don't speak. Yeah, Leovanda.
Leovanda. Okay.
Yeah, the U is kind of
Silent.
it's the well it's pronounced more Leeoo kind of thing, like Leo, like Leo
Okay.
kind of thing, but it's like in like one syllable, if that makes any sense.
Like rushed.
Leo. Yeah, like rushed. So it's like Leo.
Okay.
Leo.
I'm gonna be practicing this around my house all week.
Anyway, so for the most part, she doesn't seem standoffish, but she doesn't seem to be paying attention. It's not that she's not, it's just that usually it's gonna be either her bird that sits either on her shoulder, head, or arm, depending on the situation. And likely we'll be paying more attention to the bird, for reasons that will be got into later. She, however, once she does kind of, not necessarily drop that wall, but that wall gets dropped, for lack of a better term, she's very talkative. Very talkative.
Mhm.
Other than that, not all that unusual in appearance or anything. I mean, she's fairly tall at 5'11", and but other than that, no, nothing too crazy. She doesn't stick out too much. She has her hair dyed.
Mhm.
So at the roots, it's a tinge white. It's difficult to tell, but unless like you actually get up close and look at it. But she has her hair dyed.
Okay.
She has her hair dyed a reddish brown color.
Cool. Coolio. And last but not least, no doubt I'll mess this pronunciation up. Reist?
going for rice, but
Reist? There we go. See, I told you I'd get it wrong. I warned you.
I mean, heist. It's spelled the same way.
Yeah, English doesn't work like that. Sorry to tell you.
Well,
I wish.
It doesn't. Here's the thing.
It w-
I was like, is it Reist?
yeah, I know it doesn't. I'm just giving you a way to remember.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
Reist.
And
Yeah.
Reist works well. So yeah.
So, so if you guys, like when you all for the first time see Rise, you probably, and if it was in a setting to do anything with the Order of Mamoru, you probably think like, what the hell is he doing here? Because he is absolutely nothing special at all. He's possibly the most average height and build as a human. He has dyed his hair purple with like red shades, but a while ago you can see that it's not like he keeps up with his appearance. Probably doesn't really care that much, just thought it was neat or something. He wears sort of a kimono styled leather armor and has a katana on his back, but nothing about him suggests that he's actually good at using it. um, so not really clear what's going on with him. But if you pay a lot of attention, you might at some point notice that through a combination of like maybe perception and intuition, he's able to react very quickly to things. So maybe you notice him catching something that falls, whereas he doesn't look very agile. So that's kind of what you might gather from just seeing him for the first time. And his personality is very like down to earth, just a pretty much normal guy.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point actually. I think what sort of weapons is everyone carrying around with them? And Darshana, don't say your fists.
No, quarterstaff.
Said
How
stop.
dare you?
Sword and shield, nothing crazy here.
Yeah. I've got a sword and
Livanda
shield
has
as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say I also have a quarterstaff and a hand axe. Quarterstaff sits on my back, and the hand axe at the hip.
Cool.
Daggers for me on the second.
Mm-hmm.
There.
Alrighty. So, I think Liuvanda. I'll get there. I think if we dive into, I don't actually have a secrets channel set up on Order of Mamoru yet, so we can just jump into the dormant Arenda one. I'll throw you. Yeah. We'll stay in there for like 5 minutes. We'll hash out some ideas about what an inciting incident could look like. Meanwhile, if the rest of you want to sort out your inventory in terms of your +1 starting equipment or whatever, it's not important, but gives you something to do for the next 5 minutes. But yeah, otherwise, go get some food, have a drink, whatever, and I will be back in a moment. And if anyone else wants to talk about a potential inciting incident, then just grab me when I come back. But yeah, be right back.
Okey-dokey.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi there.
So originally, what I was thinking was something to do with her affinity, like, because I was originally thinking like she'd have like, because not obviously, it's a little expected, but I was kind of, I don't know. Again, once again, I can't help it, but I cannot help my animal interest. So I once again did a +5 to animal handling. So so I was thinking of something to do with her affinity for like her affinity with birds specifically.
Okay. Makes sense, given...
Because I was originally thinking of having it so her family was a family of bird keepers. Everybody was known to have a pet bird for whatever reason. Everybody had their own different reasons for it. Obviously, for Livanda, it's that's Anda, her spirit, her quarry spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she has that's her reason. But I was thinking originally it was going to be because like she just had such a clear and like distinct affinity with these animals that like, hey, we could use this you know, this person is like
compassionate?
Not the word I was looking for. I can't find the words because my brain is extra fried today.
It's all good. So I guess just to jump in, I really like the idea. There usually has to be, and I think we can. This is certainly a starting point. There usually has to be something that stands out. Due to the nature of Zhongli, because there isn't magic, any information is based on word of mouth. So, in terms of, as I've coined it, an inciting incident, it usually has to be something like that. It has to be an incident that has occurred that has made people begin to talk about you and what that, how that would get back to the daimyo of the city. So, like, we have to acknowledge that someone who's looking after animals, that in itself probably wouldn't get back to a leader of a city.
Because that's just everybody has animals.
So, however, I do think. Sorry, go on.
No, you say your point first.
I was just going to say, I think that's a brilliant starting point, and if and this is just something I've plucked off the top of my head, it's certainly not something that you have to go with. I'm just using it as an example. If somehow you sacrifice your life to protect those animals in one way or another, maybe it's, there was like a wildfire or something like that, and you did something to protect them or to keep them safe, whatever it might be, then that is something that is abnormal, and that if the average person got if the average person got a hold of that information, then a conversation would be caused around it. Eventually it would make its way back, because I don't see your character being someone who lives in the city. Maybe he's in the woods. Yeah, maybe he's in the woods and the wilderness around the city, yeah, but
definitely,
but not within the city itself. So yeah, like, with that said, does that sort of provoke any
I actually really
ideas?
like that, because my original thought was gonna be either like, as kind of odd as it seems, but originally it was gonna be defending the defenseless.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the I hadn't precisely thought of a situation, but the main thing was that Levanda had come like just out of the woods, out of nowhere, and out of nowhere, just this random person, eyes glowing brightly, and like not necessarily countless, but like a serious number of like a seriously worrying number of birds of prey, be it like a hawk of some sort or something,
Mm-hmm.
or just a couple other like things, and just like, but these animals clearly summoned up for whatever reason. Like, it doesn't seem either way. These animals approach, these animals summon for whatever reason, but they're here, and I'm the one leading them.
I really like that as a flavor.
Coming there to defend the whatever was going on, because I had not thought of a situation in which would call for something like that, like
Mhm.
such a display of "fuck you, I'm stronger." Then walking into like maybe like a large clearing or something in view of like a town, in view of like a small town or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
to defend be it this person or group
Yeah.
against someone or some people clearly abusing their strength and taking advantage of those weaker than them.
Mhm.
Whatever the situation would be, I genuinely was just like, what if she just fucking walked out of the woods with like a bunch of like fucking eagles flying
Like
over her,
You're like
chasing
Snow
down her?
White on steroids or something. Just
Honestly, that's kind of where my brain went. Kind of.
I don't even want you to use weapons. I just want you to use birds as weapons.
I would love that.
maybe we'll have a conversation because we can't play next week. So there's going to be like a week break basically, in the session 1 or
Yeah.
pick up the week after that. It might be worth us having a conversation to see if we could potentially weaponize that in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I just like the only thing about it is like I might have to redo my spells a little bit to work better with it. Because at the moment I like mine. I like the spells
Well,
they did.
I will say
But
you're a ranger, so I could be wrong here. I could be remembering wrong, but I think you can. No, you can't. No. This was a conversation with Jakar in our other campaign. I was going to say I think you can change your spells, but I don't think you can. So ignore me.
I know I can obviously alter them. I can manage my spells real quick, but like.
Yeah. Well, until session 1, like if you did want to readdress your spells, I don't mind. But once session 1 comes in, then
Yeah, then it's no touch, not hands on.
yeah, I think you can change one when you level up, so you can like swap one out when you level up. But other than that, I don't think so.
Okay.
But no, what I will do is I'll go through everyone else, because I mean it sounds like you have an idea, but if you want to have a think, we'll go through everyone else. Have a little think.
About the
I'll-
bird thing or
About the inciting incident.
'cause
It sounds like
honestly,
you've got a pretty
I-
solid idea, but
I really do like that idea, but the thing is that I also really like the self-sacrifice one as well, because
Mhm.
the thing is I know for dead certain both of those are instances in which both honestly and for both Hifrin and Levanda would easily throw themselves into harm's way and
yeah.
to rescue these things, whatever literally no matter what.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what's at risk. They're what matters.
Well, what I will do is I
'Cause
will.
it kind of gives me an idea, like, maybe wildfire thing, actually I really like that, and on top of that I could give extra little flavors to the character, and like let's say she has a burn scar all the way up her left arm or something like that from
Mhm.
having covered like
Yeah, that'd be cool.
like just all kinds of stuff like that, like it goes up her arm and across her back or something.
Sounds painful.
It kind of hurts.
But yeah, what I'll do is, because I'll double check, make sure no one else wants to have a conversation about their incident, and then if not or whatever, I'll basically leave you last when I'm addressing each individual one, because there's going to be like, I'm basically going to create a scene for everyone for that inciting incident. So we're going to sort of we're going to play it out to a certain degree. There's not going to be any dice rolling or anything like that. Maybe there will, depending on the situation. But yeah, we're going to sort of paint the picture of what happened, just to give an idea of the person that, for example, the Evander is, and the rest of the characters are as well. So yeah.
I do want to confirm, is that going to be after? So we're going to go through our incidents right now. Or...
Yeah. So like I say, if I'll leave you to last, so you can have a little think about it.
I can think about it.
If when I get to you, you're still not 100% certain, don't stress about it. We can deal with it at a different time. But yeah, I'll see if anyone else wants to talk about theirs. But yeah, is there any other questions or anything else you want to say?
Actually, yeah. So when you had brought up the +1 weapons thing, I
Oh, yes.
want to confirm about that one. Because I was thinking, absolutely, +1 longsword, right?
Mm-hmm.
But once you brought up because like now I am partially seriously considering using solely birds as weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And putting up a couple spell slots in that in those things, so I can like magic it into being like what's it called, I believe It's beast bond and animal friendship. Those two.
Well, so I guess because I wouldn't want you changing your entire spell book just to cater to this idea. My idea would be completely almost flavorful. So like when you attack something, maybe you get like 2 attacks, for example, on an action, but they do not a lot of damage. So
Okay.
it would almost be the equivalent of mechanically just having a weapon in your inventory, like a crossbow, for example. But in this case, you would be surrounded by this storm of birds, and you would send one off, a second one off. Maybe they do like 1d4 points of damage each, so it's not like a ton of damage, but you're doing like multiple,
But it's
whereas
still-
other people are doing 1 or 2 attacks. You're doing 3 or 4 attacks, type of thing.
So if I really wanted to, I could send 2 birds off to 2 different targets or something like that.
Yeah, and I guess my idea when you were sort of painting that picture of that scene, on a mechanical sense, it wouldn't require you to cast a spell or anything like that. Though, if you took, I can see that you've got Hunter's Mark in your spellbook. We could flavor it even further that when you cast Hunter's Mark on something, they're like surrounded by birds themselves.
Or like they have, or like there's a couple that just circle their head.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's more so a flavor, or I guess a reflavoring of an attack, basically.
I actually really like that.
Hmm. I do as well.
Like that.
I love the picture that you painted. So
Bird
we can have. Sorry.
No,
Hello. Oh.
Don't worry about it. I'm making jokes to myself. It's a bird lady.
So yeah, like I would say if that is definitely what you want to go with, and again we've got a couple of weeks to think about it, so it's not like you have to make a decision right here, right now, in terms of like whether you choose a +1 weapon or a +1 piece of armor. But I would say if you're going with the bird thing, then I think it would make sense to go with a +1 piece of armor and get that +1 to your AC. But again, completely up to you. We might make a decision now.
I think I'm gonna do the bird thing. I
Yeah?
really like it, and it would add a lot of. It would really help. I mean, honestly, like just on top of the flavor, it also makes that incident even more. Just all that, more. What did you call it? An enticing.
Inciting incident. yeah.
Inciting. All that more. You know.
Yeah, I do think it's cool that like maybe people have heard stories about this woman with birds surrounding her that did this sacrifice, whatever it is, and then it almost takes on a mythology of itself. Like people tell this story, but it's almost like a boogeyman type of story. Like it's not actually.
I was actually gonna bring up something like that. Like there could be like even if I don't know if you'd allow it, but like a local legend of like I'm trying to think of a cool name for it, but all I can think of is the bird lady.
We'll think of something cool. We'll think of something cool.
But for now, they have like this legend of the bird lady, and it's like if people are taking advantage of their power, their strength, and using it to instead of help hurt others, like she'll take revenge on you for all those you have hurt.
Yeah. I really like that. I really like that. So yeah, I will throw you back into the game, chat, and we'll see what everyone else wants to say, if anything, and then we'll go into the inciting incidences. So yeah, I'll meet you back down there. Or do you want me to throw you down there?
I can. It's whatever.
I'm gonna throw you down there because I like doing it. Goodbye. Hello. A little bit longer than 5 minutes, but we got on a 1. I will say.
It's all good. We brought everyone in the chat with talks about our campaign. It's fine.
Oh,
At least it wasn't boring while you were gone.
in the chat? What do you mean by in the chat?
Here.
In the voice chat.
Okay.
Yeah, voice chat.
I was like,
Talking about how screwed we are next session.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah. I think everyone's.
Don't agree with us.
So that
Every-
we can look back then.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh yeah, you guys are screwed next session.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He's like, I got
Oh, yeah,
both
yeah.
sleeves.
Look, it's early.
Yeah.
Up both sleeves. They're stuffed. He's got cards pouring out of them.
Yeah.
He woke up and chose violence today. Holy shit.
I think.
I guess I'm watching that next session to see just how screwed they really
I
are.
gotta be honest. What we discussed in the secrets chat does not help.
Well, so
And shows violence.
I actually think that all of the campaigns are going into a session next week where you could potentially argue the "I'm screwed" mindset. But
Oh, we're definitely fucked.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna
So
have to watch the
bad.
stream to figure out what's going on right now. So
yeah, I'll give you a little recap as well later on. I'll just
Yeah.
type one up maybe. But anyways, yes. Is anyone else wanting to discuss their inciting incident, whether it is a fully formed idea or whether it is a non-formed idea?
We can
Mine's a
talk
pretty
mine
loose
out.
idea.
Oh, what was that? One at a time?
I was just saying that I could talk mine out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I'll drag you up into the secrets. What did you say, Randall, by the way?
I just said I have a vague idea.
Do you want to hash some ideas out?
Sure. Or at least I can run it by you, see if that's okay.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll do our Ziggy first. Oh wait,
All good.
has the music stopped?
Now that you
Maybe.
mention it.
I believe so.
Some music.
There we go.
Can hear it.
Yeah, I'll drag you up there, Ziggy. And be right back. Hello.
Wow, it's been a long time since I've been in a secrets chat.
Yeah, it has.
Section 1. Section 2.
Yeah. So, what sort of do you have? What sort of ideas, if any, do you have? Guess I'll ask.
Yeah, so my incident also kind of plays into why Ziggy is called Ziggy.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, like, Dragonborn have, like, nicknames as children.
Mm-hmm.
And Ziggy is that because, like, he would just, like, run around all over the place. He would zigzag everywhere. And then I figured that would eventually evolve into he would be running around town helping people. And then eventually that would evolve into, like, helping people outside the walls.
Okay.
Like, if people are traveling to the city, like, once they got to a certain point, he'd make sure that, like, they weren't mugged or robbed in any way, and just sort of kind of just being a reputable character in the neighborhood, so to speak, of just
Almost like a
guy who-
superhero.
yeah, but for menial tasks, and
Yeah.
then also beating people up.
That's fair. So I like, because it almost has this sort of, and this was what I was hoping for a lot of these. It has that sort of legend status, not in that it's a legendary feat, but more so that it could, if you heard that around town, you'd be like, is it true? It could be true. Is there actually like a dragonborn just running around town helping people? Maybe. Who knows? And because, and I was saying this to Liu Vanda, that because of the lack of magic in this country, information doesn't get passed around through spells, whether it's a sending spell or whatever. information gets passed on via word of mouth. So like having a unique take on a situation is more important than anything else. I will say, although as is, it's great, I do think there needs to be a single moment where Ziggy goes from person of the community to potential member of an order that only gets recruited when a new daimyo is placed, or when a member dies. So is there, and it can be as generic as you want, because really I think the beauty in the story that you've told is more so that almost lifelong mission of helping people, and that's really more the important thing. So it doesn't need to be anything special, just something large, something grander for the leader of a city to go, he's not just a person who helps, he's a person who could protect the greatest artifact in the city.
Yeah. I was thinking something along the lines of like, maybe he had to take on a bunch of guys just by himself.
Maybe
like,
sorry, go on, continue.
Well, I was going to say like maybe like 6 or 7 guys, and they were like particularly rougher than a lot of just the regular bandit people. Maybe like a small little group that was pretty notorious in the outskirts area.
How do you feel about taking down like a corrupt guild of some kind?
That also works for me too.
So I don't know if you want to just note this down somewhere, or maybe put it on your character sheet. It is the Order of Waru.
Yeah.
WARU.
Okay.
They usually deal with thievery and kidnapping, so sort of leans into what Ziggy would have been dealing with in terms of helping people from not being jumped or mugged on the roads leading into Nara. So I kind of like the idea of like, it's in my mind because me and my partner's been watching it recently. But have you seen Daredevil?
I need to get around to it.
Okay, well, it obviously, hopefully you know, but Daredevil is like a street level, quote unquote superhero.
He's like a C tier Spider-Man.
Exactly.
I know my shit.
So like the idea of Ziggy like doing just good work, but uncovering a more sinister undertone to a certain part of the city, and then pursuing that, and maybe rescuing like a bunch of kids that have been like kidnapped or whatever, and as you say, just taking down like a bunch of this guild by yourself, this order. I really like that. But obviously this is your character, so don't let me, write it.
I mean, it was along the same lines of what I was thinking. I just didn't know any of the criminal organizations within the city, of course, so I was just going broad with just like bandits. But I mean, it's pretty much the same thing that I was going for.
Yeah, I mean, the thing, because I don't want to lose that part of Ziggy where he is just a guy who's doing good, and he's done that for a large portion of his life. That's why I think it's a good idea that he just simply stumbled upon his quote unquote inciting incident. Like, his inciting incident was merely a coincidence, and he only found it because he was doing good to begin with. Because I think, as I say, I think the uniqueness of your inciting incident is what surrounds the inciting incident, which is the fact that Ziggy is like C tier Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, I really like that. All right. Any other questions?
I had a question about the god that I chose.
Well, hopefully it's Kriya, because that's the only one you're allowed.
What they don't know won't hurt me. But I chose, what was it? But I
Okay.
guess like the specific paladin path that I chose.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
The Oath of the Ancients.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess obviously if it gets too spoilerly or whatever,
Mhm.
that's fine, and I don't need to know. But like, how exactly would that play out compared to like a more like regular path?
So I will say, there's going to be a. I don't know a lot about the Oath of the Ancients off the top of my head. I believe there's a lot of nature-y type features that it gets access to. So if you're just talking on a mechanical sense, there's going to be opportunity in terms of you are going to be out in the wild. This isn't going to be a story purely based in a city. You're going to be sent out on, as I say, quests, and that's going to include traveling to location to location, and a lot of those locations are going to be in the wilderness that is Zhongli. A lot of the cities, again, because of the lack of magic, a lot of the cities are separated by miles upon miles of just overgrown nature, whether it's forests, woods, or just fields of whatever. So there's going to be a lot of nature. If you're speaking on a flavor sense, the way to think about it, because any other god apart from Kriya is outlawed, so naturally someone who believes in another god wouldn't be invited to this holy order of Mamoru that is specifically all about the history and past of the of their country, their city, and their people. So like, if you wanted to lean into the godliness of it, the reason why paladins and clerics work and other magic wielders don't is because what people believe is that Kriya, as well as Orn, who he was fighting, created the plane of existence through their battle. Almost kind of like the Big Bang, and it created life to a certain degree, but in this case it's, you know, a god punching another god and firing off a cosmic blast towards one another, and creating the plane that we are playing on. So because they believe Kriya created the land that they walk, something like a Oath of the Ancients, that sort of, you could flavor it that they protect the land. To a extension, they're protecting a part of Kriya. Kriya created this land, whether it's the fields or the woods or the mountains. Kriya had a hand in creating it, and so protecting it is almost a show of respect and a show of dedication to not just your oath, but to the god that created it.
Okay.
I don't know if that answers your question or if I just...
No, it does.
Cool. Anything else?
I thought I had something else, but no.
That's all good. As I've said to others, it's this is just session 0. We're not going to be playing next week, but we'll be playing. First session will be the week after. So if anything pops up during that time, you can just throw me a message, or we can jump into a voice chat or whatever, and we'll hash any more ideas out. My plan is to go over the insight and incidences, almost as if a storyteller around a fireplace is telling the legend, in your case, of Ziggy. So like, I've said that I'll leave Leovanda to the last because they're having a think about what exactly they want. I'll probably leave you second last, just to hash out any ideas, unless you're okay with what you've got. And
I'm perfectly fine with this.
okay, cool. Then I'll probably just throw you in there wherever you pop up.
Okay.
Alrighty. I'll throw you back in there unless you've got anything else to ask.
No, that's all for me.
Alrighty. Well, see you're in there.
Stick.
Hello there.
I mean, I remember the time when I first discovered one night. It was great. I started seeing fish. Goldfish specifically, with wings.
Goldfish.
They were great. I loved them.
Uh,
I wanted to keep one as a pet, but hadn't been let me. I'm kidding.
just to jump in real quick, Balshaw, are you wanting to discuss your insight and incident? Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that real quick.
Yeah.
Should
Cool.
take a minute.
Alrighty. Hello there.
General Kenobi. Because we don't have a lot of context as to kind of events. Yeah, I just wanted to run it by.
Yeah.
The idea I had in mind was, as a soldier, Balshor was in a group of in a squad basically. They'd already lost their captain against some sort of battle. I don't have details, so I don't know because I don't know a lot of history currently. Hopefully, you can help me fill in the blanks.
Mm-hmm.
But they're in just a small skirmish, and he wasn't a paladin this time. He was just a fighter, kinda. But his team wasn't doing really good, and they were closing in on them. And he basically took his sword and asked Krier to guide him, and he charged in because he was probably the more well-off of the other soldiers. And that's when his Krier actually blessed his sword, and he was able to do divine smite, essentially.
Yeah.
Dealt a couple nasty blows and was able to fend off the enemy and get the rest of his squad to safety.
Okay. I like it. I guess to give some context, the idea of this, and I think you've hit the relevant. I was going to say requirements, as if there's like an actual list of things you need to do, but like the idea of this inciting incident is that because of the nature of Zhongli and magic not really being a prominent staple of this country, information has to be fed back via word of mouth. So like there's no send and spell that gets information from one place to another. So generally, like, and I think I've mentioned it in one of the messages that I'd sent out, but like having your characters quite local or associated to Nara in some way, whether it's just living outside of Nara or living within the walls of Nara or serving the city in some way, shape or form, works best, because word of mouth doesn't often, it would depend on the incident, but word of mouth wouldn't get from the northwest shore to the southeast shore, at least not very quickly. So I like your idea, because we could very easily say that you were serving the army of Nara, which is wonderful, because the army that serve the city of Nara, I'll say to be one of the strongest armies. They're well trained, but more so that they're because of the mines there, they have access to metals and components that allow them to craft incredibly strong weapons and armor, hence the +1 stuff. which also obviously it's Zhongli is a together country, shall I say? So the army that serves Nara also serves the country. But I think an event where you it's a cliche saying, but I want to say turn the tide of battle is a good one, because if it's like a historical event, whether it's like a few years ago or even longer than that, depending on how you want to paint it, it could be something that was taught to the current daimyo as a historical event, because history is very important to the people of Nara. So yeah, I very much like that. In terms of like any battles or large scale events, the country of Nara are constantly what's the word? I guess assailed by demonic-esque creatures. Whether they are just like winged demons to a degree or something else. It's quite often an event that occurs that if you were to battle in something like that, would certainly grab the attention of the daimyo of Nara.
Yep, that's why I wanted to confirm with it to make sure that was not, because I don't want to paint my character like a perfect image, because no D&D character is, but just a situation important enough to spread names, or like just enough people were saved that I actually had this other idea where when he did run in, Courier gave him the light and his sword glowed, and he had the nickname of like Silverblade between his squad.
I like that.
That might have spread.
I like that because it's a, and I've said this to others that I've dragged into here, it's a legend that if you hear the tale, it's like there could be some truth to it, there might not be truth to it. It might just be like an exaggeration of what actually happened. And I like that in terms of the legend that would surround your character, to the point where it's very eye-catching and ear-grabbing for the daimyo that would be, recruiting for this ancient order. They would like hear that story and go, oh, interesting. Like, I know you don't want them to be perfect, which is fine, but what you want is a intriguing,
like the tale.
Yeah. It needs to be intriguing to the point where it would catch someone's attention, to the point where they would research it, investigate the truth of it, and when they get out the end, they find someone who is not just a quote-unquote war hero, but someone who can protect what is important to the sea.
And
so yeah,
I had the idea he left his squad soon after that to more focus on his faith with Krier and practice with any other like paladins, or if there's like an order of paladins. Partly because he was scared of being in that situation again and watching the rest of his squad die.
Yeah.
So it left kind of a wound on him at the same time.
That is.
But he still wants to fight for the good.
Obviously,
he told his squad that he's fighting for the greater good by joining something like that, but deep down that's what he feels.
What sort of oath do you have?
It is the Oath of Conquest.
Okay.
Which I can double check the tenets on that. Which are kind of ruthless, actually. So.
No, it's all good. So we have the Order of Sifuku. which are an order of similarly like-minded paladins. I can DM you the spelling of that.
And I will verbally butcher it multiple times.
Yeah, so will I.
Okay.
And maybe over the next couple of weeks we'll hash out any important figures before first session, in terms of like, you know, maybe it's the head of the order or whatever it might be.
Yep. I just want to make sure that the plot I had envisioned was going to fit with you.
Yeah, and again, as I've said to others, I'm going to go through almost painting the picture of your inciting incidences to everyone, almost like we're sitting around a campfire, hearing these legends, these tales of these recruits of the Order of Mamoru.
Like
So
in the perspective of word of mouth.
yeah, kind of, yeah.
That's awesome.
And so there's going to be a situation where I'm painting the picture of the surrounding events, but obviously I'm going to pass it over to you to describe the actions of your character. So in terms, I'll basically set the scene, and much like D&D, you'll tell me what you want to do or what you did do, I guess, in that situation, and then we'll go from there.
Awesome.
But yeah, any other questions?
Nope. If that sounds good to you, it sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome.
Alrighty, well, I will throw you back down there, and we'll see what happens next.
Okay.
Hello there.
Hi.
It's my turn now.
If you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, I'll throw you up there.
Oh.
Hello.
Hey.
So, do you have an idea?
Yeah. I have a kind of a backstory-ish.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to run it by you, essentially. So we kind of discussed that, or not discussed, but I probably mentioned that his trade is a mage slayer, essentially.
Mhm.
But the background is that he comes from a bog standard, like, small farming village. He probably, like everybody he knows, still stuck in that village, but then he realized that he has some just very, very sharp sense of intuition, maybe.
Mhm.
Which and very, like, observant, I guess. So he was able to, without having any particular skill, always find a way to win in a fight or a contest. And somehow he over time found himself to take up some contracts to hunt down some very dangerous mages.
Mhm.
Over time, obviously not straight away. And that is essentially what would have gotten him noticed.
Okay. I like it. I will say, so in terms of information going from one place or another, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's important where you got these contracts from. So I would argue that it would have to surround the city of Nara, so that the people of Nara started to understand and acknowledge the existence of your character and Reist and what he was doing. Yeah. I would also say, could we perhaps explore the possibility of one of these contracts being more eye-catching in terms of intrigue for the daimyo of the city than the rest. So yeah, you took on these contracts, you took on these majors, but in terms of the daimyo reaching out and offering you this opportunity to join an order, which only gets the opportunity for recruiting if either one of the members die or if the current daimyo rule ends for one reason or another. So there's not much opportunity for recruitment.
I understand. So I got your idea. I was kind of thinking about it in a way that mage hunting is not a normal thing. There is not 100 mage hunters in Nara. There's probably just the one. And his unique skills would be very interesting to the order. Because like most people, they just pass up these contracts or they die. But if you want to have a special contract that we can try to invent, I can have a think about that. Like a special story about this one time, and somehow the daimyo really wanted that mage dead or whatever. Or
In
retrieve
fact-
something was stolen and it was retrieved and it was for the daimyo. So if that's necessary.
Yeah,
sure.
I think I actually don't think the events of the contract are too important, actually, now that you've said that. It could just be that you made a name for yourself as this mage hunter. And that in itself is the legend that caught the attention of the daimyo, perhaps, which led him to give you a contract, like personally, to hunt someone or something down. And that is what sort of sealed the deal in terms of your attitude towards the contract or whatever it might be.
Sure. And we would be picking up when that has been completed, and now I can be recruited into the order.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
as I've said to other people, what I'm going to be doing next is almost painting the picture for everyone about people's inciting incidents. So it's more so just like as I say, painting the picture. There'll be some interactivity for you to go into. There most likely won't be any rolling of dice, more just describing it. Almost as if it's being told around a campfire, like the legend is being told of your character and the other characters and stuff.
Okay.
But I will say for stuff like this, for being a mage hunter, I would say that it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for Reist to hunt demonic creatures, as in like magical creatures, and a lot of Zhongli is tormented by demonic or fiendish entities. So
Okay.
just something to keep in mind, that you'd probably would have taken on like
Those
some
as well.
form of
Sure thing.
exactly. But yeah, if you're happy with that, have you got any other questions or?
No, that's cool.
Alrighty. We won't be playing next week, but we'll be playing the week after. So if anything comes up during that 2-week time, then
All right.
you can obviously just throw me a message or whatever. But yeah, I will throw you back down there, and yeah.
Good stuff.
Hi,
Welcome
Hi.
back.
Hi.
Darshana.
Your insane DMing skills.
I'm sorry.
So we're talking about your insane DMing skills.
Yes.
Oh well, can you talk about it whilst I'm here so I can hear it and it like
No,
makes me feel
we can't
better?
boost your
Just
ego
so
too
you're
much.
It would give you too much
No.
power.
The bigger the ego, the sloppier you get, and I'm not for that.
Well, you know what? I can't kill any of yous next week now. This is unfortunate.
You better.
I guess
you
tomorrow.
can't do it
Tomorrow.
again.
It's tomorrow.
You can't
But
do it again, Adam. Please.
I know. I'm sorry.
Not that I heard loud. Come on, Adam.
Oh, yeah. There's 2 tieflings in this conversation.
Yeah,
Cool.
we're
Sure.
discussing that. He's heard of me. I'm famous.
Yeah.
I have heard.
Yeah. So, speaking of, Darshana, are you wanting to discuss anything?
The only things I've got to discuss are some questions about, like, her race. I've got a list of them and such, just where they lived in that for my backstory, just so I know.
Okay. We have another Kalashtar in the party, so
that's
if you
why I'm
want to,
gonna leave it open.
if you want to ask your questions here, and I'll see what I can do.
So I was wondering where they live, like, within this continent. Like, I know that under the real, well, the normal non-homebrew worlds, they live in like secluded temples. But do they live amongst normal people here, or do they live in a secluded temple?
So the Kalashtar of Olvania are certainly more. I would say that there's a draw to Zhongli, possibly because of the more spiritual connection that the people have there. But yeah, there's certainly a draw to Zhongli, but they're not like, what's the word? They're not restricted to being sort of living secluded in temples or whatever. But they're found all over. They're probably beyond humans. They're probably the second most common race here. So there's a lot of them.
Okay. Do they have any like major or minor racial tension between any of, like, is there any sort of like tension between any of the various races found in the place? Like
in Zhongli?
Yeah. Or just
In Zhongli specifically, no. The tension comes from, and probably is because it's outlawed, it comes from religion, and that could be extended to Surlia in general. I've mentioned it to you, I think it was yesterday or something, but I guess for everyone else's sake, Surlia is made up of 10 countries. The people who, I'll say, rule over Surlia are known as the 10, and it's a representative from each country. Each country also represents one of the 10 old gods as well. Naturally, you're in the country of Kriya, of strength, of war, and all the other countries represent their respective gods. With that said, I've baffled on too long that I forgot what your question was. Oh, tension between races. So no, there's not like there's no tension between other races in Zhongli. You might, I guess, just for context, Almiri is like a much more judgmental continent, as you've probably guessed, given your situation currently in Saoirse's shoes. So there may be judgment there, but like in Zhongli, because the Kalashtar are so common, it's just, yeah, there's no like judgment in terms of, yeah. Yeah, it would be more so their spiritual, religious, or worldly outlooks that would draw attention to them rather than their race. And I will say that goes for all races here in Zhongli. There's no like even tieflings are quite common here. So yeah.
Next question, also to do with her race. Given what race she is, and they teach martial arts and that sort of stuff, would she have had to join a monastery or anything, or would she just have been taught by her parents?
It can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be like a set order, or quote unquote way that you were taught. Although I imagine that if you were taught by anyone, they would have had a style, and that would have been sort of imprinted on you, and you would pick up that style as well, in terms of the different subclasses. But yeah, it could be as simple as just having like a mentor, whether it be a parent or a teacher of some kind, that taught you that. Yeah.
And then the rest of the questions are just about the world, so I'm not entirely sure if you're about to cover those or not. So I'm good.
Ask your questions, because what I'm going to be going into next is more of a, as I've said to everyone but you, because I've been saying it in the secret channels. We're going to go into like a campfire type situation where we discuss the legends of people's different inciting incidences. If I get to someone and they're still not 100% about certain things, then, you know, we can either bypass it or, you know, make something up as if it is the legend that surrounds your character or whatever. Or we can readdress it at a different time. But yeah, I would ask your questions now.
Okay, like, as far as, like, what they would have been doing since they finished their training, like, for Tashana, like, what kind of, like, jobs and stuff were even available? I'm assuming it's just normal, because it's, like, a mining area, as well as a bunch of other jobs.
Yeah. So,
It's like a whole
my
city-
first
whole
question is...
civilization.
My first question is probably going to blow your mind. But, have you actually finished your training?
Oh, no idea. I was just wondering if they had. That's what I was trying to figure out, like,
Well,
where she would be at that point.
I guess my point is that... in a mechanical sense, you're level 5, so there's still room to grow. But like,
No, I meant like when her parents basically kicked her out of the house.
yeah, you're now old enough to earn some gold. Go get some.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the city itself. Let me get the city up so I've got some context here. But yes, it is a mining city. Mining in that. The reason it's a mining city is because of the great wealth of materials that they have access to. This usually, well, not usually. This has extended to their wealth of armor and weaponry. Hence your +1 weapons and armors that I'm sort of giving you. The reason for this is because they have access to such unique materials that no one in the rest of the country really knows about. It's usually also why trade is so important. They trade out to other cities nearby to sort of grow their strength as well. The sort of neighboring cities. They also hire out their guard to the smaller fishing cities that sort of scatter the southwest shore of the main island that you're on. To protect them, because although pretty much everyone in this country is well trained, or at least trained enough to protect themselves, as some of you have sort of found out through the secret chat, there are sort of demonic, fiendish threats to this world or this country that comes with a certain degree of, yeah, this old fisher can like kick the arse of like maybe's the average Joe from Almiri, but probably can't kill an actual fiend or demon. So yeah, so there's mercenary work available, whether it's sort of contracted or based from the city of Nara and the surrounding neighboring cities. But there's also more sort of what's the word? Civilian jobs available as well. There's farming work. There's, as I say, mining work. There's also training work. So there's in the. I guess I will activate the scene just for the stream, and so I can point you in the directions of the city. There's the fields of Senso, which are fields where people, just the average person here can go to, pay an instructor, and you can sort of contract yourself to be an instructor, to train them in whatever form of contract that they desire, whether it's hand-to-hand, melee, sword, katana fighting, or whether it's bow work and range fighting, whatever it is. You can basically go there as a proven sort of quote-unquote warrior fighter, and hire yourself out as a instructor there. There is also the Conquest of Korea in the bottom there, which is essentially the same thing as a fighting pit, but is way more fancier due to the importance of fighting and combat. It's a much larger sort of beautiful stadium towers sort of peering up quite highly, and the surrounding sort of combat area surrounded by water. Very pretty to look at. But yeah, you could be like a fighting pit champion or whatever you want to be.
Question real quick. if you
Mhm.
don't mind.
Yeah.
So about that, because of the importance to career, could that also, to a degree, double as a church of career?
So there is a actual
Is there an
church.
actual.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's
over here, a humongous
Okay.
temple and church exists. However, the
I didn't notice it.
the biggest building on the map.
I literally didn't notice it once.
There is a smaller temple outside, which I might label actually just for the sake of understanding. But yeah, there is a smaller temple outside. But yeah, I mean, it's not
Also,
unseen. Sorry, go on.
No, you finish.
I was just gonna say it's not unseen or unheard of that people would pray or show signs of respect to Kriya before fight, on the quote unquote battlefield of the fighters bit. So yeah, there would certainly be I sort of touched upon it earlier, but the people of Zhongli see everything that is either handmade or naturally made, whether it be the land or the woods or forests or mountains, or whether it be the cities that have been crafted by the materials that have been sort of gathered from the land. It's all seen as coming from Kriya, because they believe that Kriya, along with the cosmic battle against Orn, created the plane of Volvania. So they believe that the land itself is sacred to a degree.
Yeah, I get that.
I guess for another point of interest is the Tower of Ryu, which is a incredibly large tower. It's definitely a more what's the word? Oh no, my mind's went blank. You know when people you go to another country, you are like when you're just visiting tourist. Thank you. It's more of a tourist grab, because it's this huge tower with an ancient dragon's head on the top of it. So yeah,
So it's their version of a tourist trap?
kind of, yeah. Because the city is I guess just to give some history, the katana that the Order of Mamoru protect is the katana that was wielded by an ancient warrior that defended the city of Nara. Nara was one of the only cities that was able to resist the strength and power of the dragons when they lived and ruled, which is why you'll see certain parts of the city where there's sort of bone structures. So there's on each entrance there's like smaller skulls. It's because they basically made their name from killing and repelling the dragons. Obviously they don't have to worry about that, so the katana doesn't really get used, hence why it just sits in a temple where people protect it. But yeah, it's more of a, like, this city, people go there and they're like, wow, this is the city that repelled the dragons, and they look and see this huge tower that towers over the rest of the city and see this huge ancient dragon's skull just sitting on top of it. Yeah, it pulls in tourists for sure.
Hard for me to look at it.
Yeah. There's also a couple of other orders in terms of like the Order of Ziggy over here. They are more of a sort of independent monk order, shall I say. So that's the more traditional monastery monk place, to put it plainly.
I love how for both Jihi and Mamoru, you have a little, like, they have their own little just in it's just a secluded temple in the forest.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
And then there's stuff like the Feathered Yori, which are more sort of a large scale mercenary group, which by all means you could say that you were part of. They're not like officially sort of associated with the daimyo or anything like that, but like generally speaking, if you need mercenaries to protect your wagons whilst you're trading materials to a fishing village, then your first point of call, assuming you can afford them, is likely the Feathered Yori. So there's
I
like
assume they have a solid reputation as well.
yeah. They're all above board, should I say. And then I guess the last point of interest that I don't think we've touched upon is the school of Kyodai, which is likely if you were born, raised, or grew up around Nara, you would have had your education in that school and likely would have been taught certain forms of combat to a basic extent there as well. So I guess with that, again, if you were looking for sort of quote-unquote day-to-day work in terms of how you, made money for yourself to live, then you could have been an instructor or teacher at that school as well, depending on how you see your character.
Next question was just, I'm assuming people could spend their entire lives trying to join the Order of Mamoru?
So I guess I touched upon it with a couple of people, but I guess just as I've got everyone here, the Order of Mamoru is an order that only recruits when a member of the order dies, or when the daimyo changes. So the daimyo that was unfortunately passed away, and it got handed, and the shogun of the country always decides the daimyo, and he handed it to the previous daimyo's son, which I can give you their current name. Where is he? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hold on. The current daimyo is Kamaya Suki. And I will throw that in chat for you. He is young, but he is a proven warrior. As some of you already know, there's been wars against the Fiendish and Demon assaults, and they are usually ongoing, though somewhat sort of not sparse. What's the word I'm looking for? I guess scattered would be a good. Yeah. So it's not like it's a persistent war, but like it's something that has almost plagued this country for a large portion of their history. These wars, but Kamaya has proven himself as a great leader in those wars, and was granted the honor of becoming daimyo. So in terms of, I guess to use one of the orders as an example, that order of Ziggy, they raise fighters and they teach fighters with the intention of, if an opportunity arises, then hopefully one of their students will become a member of the Order of Mamoru. But it's not like a failure if they don't, because they understand that it's such a difficult or situational occurrence that really no single person has control over whether they get in or not. It's just almost a roll of the dice. Yeah. So that order is a good example that there are certain people that certainly train their entire life to hopefully get the opportunity to join the Order of Mamoru. With that said, 90% of the time, naturally, because there's not as much recruitment as there is people hoping to join, there's a lot of disappointment in that sense, because not all of the students can join. The last round of Mamoru, which there will be opportunity, so you're going to be, during the campaign, there's going to be the opportunity to talk to the previous Mamoru. These are warriors that have served under the previous daimyo for, I think it was like 50 years. So a lot of them are old, experienced, and they're going to be there as sort of guidance to a certain degree for your characters. But yeah, like that's a good example. The period of time that people serve in this is completely dependent on the daimyo. So they serve 50 years, you could serve 10 years, or 5 years, or 3 years, depending on if you die or whether the daimyo dies.
Wait, so if I get that right, then when the daimyo changes, is it a new people for the order?
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
Just entirely?
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
And will daimyo choose some of the existing ones though? Or is there like some code that he can't?
There's specifically a code that when the daimyo changes, then the order must as well.
Right.
Okay,
It's all about passing on the baton to a certain degree. As the leader of the city changes, so does the people that protect the history and the traditions.
So it's just tradition. I was gonna say that just sounds like it's just tradition, with a change of daimyo. So too does the order of Mamoru.
Yeah. So yeah, I probably ranted on and dodged your question and dodged answering your question, but did it by chance touch upon it?
Yeah. Yep. We covered it. You're good.
Anything
one
else?
Last question.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. How much would, well, I guess any of our characters actually know about this katana?
Much like a lot of other things in this, it's all very legendary and mythical. As I've sort of said, your characters would have to either be from Nara or from around Nara, and likely if you're from around Nara, you've probably entered it because it's a nearby city. Even those that are secluded in the woods would likely go in to sell something or to pick up information or whatever it might be. And so you would see the signs of the dragons that were once and have been slain. So I would say for the most part you're all pretty safe to assume that you know that the katana, basically what I said before, that you know that the katana was used to repel the dragons. There may be certain details that we go into where a history check would be required, but I would say the majority of you would know that the katana was able to slay the dragons, repel the dragons, and protected the city from those dragons. But also with every slaying of dragon, the katana grew stronger, almost as if it absorbed the dragon's spirit or soul. I know there is one person in particular in this group that is definitely more secluded than the rest. So the information that you would know, Leovenda, is maybe more minimal.
Because I was gonna bring up, I actually had a question because of what you had said about, does the order only look in Nara for people, or do they look across the whole continent?
They look to where their eyes are pointed. So that's why when we had our conversation, I was saying, like, with you being secluded, it was probably just outside of Nara. So if we go to the Zhongli map,
Okay. So yeah, that's what I was thinking of. So then likely it would have happened just outside of the forest.
yeah. So there's the forest of Fagus Crenata, or the forest of Shido. They would be close enough for you to be respectively heard of, given your inciting incident.
because I was gonna say part of my thought was like, something from like Shiro, or maybe popping into I don't know. It's just like it's because of the distances of the cities. Like Nara is the only one that really, like Nara or Shimara are the only ones that really make sense, I guess,
Yeah.
for it to have happened just outside of a town and based off of the forest and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I was just like, I was looking around and I noticed, there's a couple. There's also, there's other forests and stuff with small towns and stuff like right next to them. Like maybe it's like that. But it seems as though no, it'd be that the order would be more focused around protecting Nara.
Yeah,
not so much other stuff.
the
Which
Order of
kind
Mamoru.
which I don't know why I didn't think of that. I don't know why that just idea passed my brain.
It might have been a lack of information that I passed over. So I guess just to confirm, the Order of
No.
Mamoru only serve Nara. Yeah.
Yeah, no, my what's it called? That was entirely my fault. My brain was like, oh, just large, powerful order that everyone knows about, even though everyone is in reality just Nara. Not so much other places.
Yeah. So yeah,
it was like, oh.
in terms of your character, I would say that you would know of the Order of Mamoru. They're an infamous enough group to know if you're from around Nara, and even for the other major cities, you would most likely know of the Order of Mamoru. It's a well taught lesson of strength that Nara is literally the only city that was able to repel the dragons. So like, that isn't a story that goes away from a country that is specifically built on strength and ability to defeat one's enemies. I would say that your knowledge of the katana itself would go as far as that it was used during that time. As for the intricate details of it absorbing souls, I would say that's specific to those who have spent a lot of time in the city of Nara.
Honestly, I was thinking maybe coming out of the that thick part of Shiro near Katsukeo, or possibly the thinner part up near Shimura. But at the same time, I'm also like, because it's just more reasons than my brain wanting stuff to be nice.
Well, as I say, the next week we'll not be playing, so we'll have a week off before the first session. At which point,
probably talk to you about it.
yeah, we'll be able to pick up certain details if we want to iron out the logistics and continuity of certain things. We can do that.
That's what I was looking for, continuity.
So yeah, any other questions?
Yes. Going back to what we were talking about with the religion and how each area represents a certain god, how strict is that? So if someone worshipping another god came through the land,
Yeah.
Would they just be looked down upon if they for wearing symbols, or
They would certainly
a
be
serious-
judged. Yes.
all right, and it's probably almost a crime to try and preach about a different god?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do not preach about a
More
god.
chaos coming from you.
Well, I will just reiterate. If you worship another god, you wouldn't be invited to the Order of Mamoru, because the fact is that they're all about tradition. They're all about the history, and the history and tradition that Zhongli believe in is that of Korea and the origins that is. You're not necessarily judged or looked down upon if you just don't worship or actively, preach about Korea, but you would certainly be judged and looked down upon if you worshipped another god other than Korea. The only place where the gods of this continent interact is when the 10 meet. And the idea is that if a decision for the continent is required to be made, each of the 10 come forth to speak on behalf of their god and the intention that their god holds.
Okay.
So yeah, that you will, if you notice, if you see other worshippers of other gods, in this country, they're certainly looked down upon. Prices would probably be hiked up from traders. They probably wouldn't be given the nicest ale in pubs and inns and stuff. Yeah, they wouldn't have the best of times here.
So, treated kind of like tieflings in
kind of, yeah.
Foundry.
Yeah. Race in this continent, in this country, is certainly not a big deal. Like, there's a lot of monstrous races in some of the other sort of overgrown parts of Surlia. There's entire jungles where cities sort of reach from tree to tree or mountain to mountain, whatever it might be. There's monstrous races that exist there, and they walk around peaceful as ever. The issue comes in is if they worship a god that doesn't fit with the current country that they sit in.
Yep, I follow Creer. I was curious.
Okay.
As to how far that tension went.
Yeah.
But that's all the questions for me.
Life or death. Almost.
I in some situations maybe, but it doesn't sound like that's the average.
Any other questions? No?
Nope.
Alrighty.
So we're all good?
I don't think so.
Alrighty. The music stopped again. I have it on loop, but apparently when it re-loops it doesn't play the sound, which is really useful. Thanks for that, Foundry. Alrighty, well.
Can't tell if you're being genuine about that.
It's incredibly not useful. If I want a sound to loop, then it should play again when it loops. God damn it!
So you were joking.
Sarcasm.
I genuinely
Yes, there
couldn't
was a
tell.
hint of
no,
sarcasm.
I genuinely couldn't tell.
Sarcasm is my friend. It is my weapon.
Okay.
Maybe that was sarcasm. Who knows?
It shows in your NPCs.
Thanks. Yeah, all my NPCs are sarcastic.
He's not wrong at all. That's
It's-
very true.
It's
Save, honestly, save only so far from a ground control.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Special place in my heart, that guy.
Same.
Uh,
I do. Oh, I need to ask him about that. That's on my brain now. Did we ever talk to him again?
No.
To him?
not yet.
Kane. I need to become fucking pen pals with this man.
All right. So let's dive into the last part of this session 0. So in Zhongli, the people. Actually, 2 moments. Let me
You put on your storyteller voice.
Yeah. So as a middle-aged man sort of gathers round a campfire, speaking to young and old alike, he places down a pack which has scrolls. They look like maps and writings and all sorts of different amalgamations of information and knowledge. He leans forward as the fire crackles in front of his face. In Zhongli, the people are honorable, and all people from young to old dedicate their lives to understanding themselves, their god Kriya, through the form of combat. They dedicate their lives to strengthening their body and mind alike, It is for this reason that the forces of Zhongli are incomparable. A force to be reckoned with. But our tale focuses on the city of Nara. This is the tale of the new daimyo of Nara. With the new daimyo comes a new batch of recruits of the Order of Mamoru. The individuals that dedicate their lives to Nara, the katana of Suyo-sa, the people of Nara, serve as long as their daimyo, or until their body becomes a hindrance. Kamayasuki, the new daimyo, a veteran warrior and ambitious strategist, looks for his new Mamoru. This tale is about the recruits chosen by him. The recruits that, much like every other potential Mamoru, gave so much of their life, perhaps even the ultimate price. First, the legend of Ziggy. Named such for his energetic running as a child, zigzagging in and out, constantly moving. The legend around him says that he protected the citizens, the civilians of Nara, day in, day out, his sole purpose, protecting each person. He dedicated his life to not just the people on the streets and within the walls of Nara, but those that approach it, the roads to Nara. Till one day, he stumbled upon frightful information. Nara was not as safe as Ziggy once thought. An order called the Order of Waru, corrupt order of thieves and kidnappers. Ziggy continued to do his day-to-day life, protecting the innocent, making a name for himself. Word of this hero would echo throughout the halls of inns and taverns of this great city. As he continued his search, he found the Order of Waru. Outnumbered, outmanned, he took them on bravely, with strength and honor. One by one the order fell. Ziggy stood strong, rescuing the children. Who knows what fate beheld them? Till the hero of Nara came along. Our next legend is that of Balshor. He dedicated his life to warring, fighting the demonic and fiendish threats that plague our land. He served a great captain, a person who put their life on the line. A great winged demon flew down, piercing the heart of Balshor's captain, lifting their body lifeless, lingering. As the spirit raised and left, their body rising further into the sky. Balshor, along with his unit, changed the tide of battle. He sacrificed his life, his spirit, his being. And as the battle looked to be at its end, to be brought to their knees once and for all, Balshor, gifted with the light and flaming blade of Kriya, raised his blade, and with it the spirit of the people that would follow him into war, into death. The legend of Balshor is just that. The light in the darkness that he presented. The legend of Darshana. A humble, quiet, learned monk. She has dedicated her life to bettering herself in body and mind. A child found themselves at a place of judgment. Darshana gave herself and her spirit in the name of this child. A combat that would judge this child guilty or innocent. Trial by combat is common in a land where combat and the god of war rules all. To win in a fight is as good as proving yourself innocent. A fight to the death, where Darshana showed her expertise and heart and spirit, not just for herself, but for an innocent child. With the success of Darshana, the sacrifices she made, came the success of this child. A life that could have been taken now lives on, with the potential of greatness, thanks to the sacrifice of one person. The legend of Leovanda. Secluded, unknown, hidden. The woods, the lands, the mountains, the air around us is as much of Kriya as Kriya himself. These lands require protection. And an individual like Leovanda offers this protection, offers herself to this land, and to the birds that call it their home. A fire, burning, smoke, darkened, breathing, heavy, difficult. Leovanda called this woods her home, and now it burns. It burns. The legend of Leovanda is that of someone with empathy for the critters, birds that call these woods their home. And without a second thought, sacrificing themselves, their spirit, their soul, to enter the fire, scarring their physical form, to rescue the small forms of life that Kriya was honorable enough to bless us with. The final legend is that of Reist. From humble beginnings to a unique profession. As you all know, magic is outlawed here. But there are people who try, and it's just thanks to Reist and people like him that magic is kept under control. Threats from far lands come to our country to plague it, to poison it. Whether they are humanoid or demonic, fiendish in nature, Reist would consistently risk themselves to ensure that this poison does not live on, not in the land of Kriya and strength and war. Each contract, each job are won against magic, against the arcane, against the devils and fiends and demons that plague this land. He would efficiently deal with them. Until the daimyo himself, perhaps a test, perhaps to understand Reist, provided a contract, a job, much like all of his others, dealing with the arcane, the magic. The difference being is that this one was for the daimyo himself. and success led to this day. The legend of the Mamoru will be told throughout time. For centuries to come, the Mamoru will still stand. And it is for the Mamoru and their sacrifices today, centuries ago, and centuries ahead of time, that it will continue to do so. Welcome to the Order of Mamoru.
Love that.
So, as I've previously mentioned, we'll be picking up in terms of the actual sessions in 2 weeks' time, which would be the 23rd. I don't have anything further to go into, but if anyone has any further questions that I haven't touched upon, or want to just talk about anything, then by all means.
I did want to discuss something with you, but preferably privately.
Okay.
Because of what you with the incident.
Mhm.
I wanted to talk to you about something about it, and I believe you know what I mean. But yeah. Other than that, I have nothing.
Cool.
Yeah, I just was going to have a quick word about one thing, but again, preferably in private, so otherwise, all good.
Okay. Do you wanna do that now?
If you want,
I was gonna
or
say
she
if
can go
it's not
first.
an issue.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
really care. Whichever's fine.
I guess I'll do Leovander first, so I'll throw you up into the secrets. 2 minutes. Hello. Before you, am I okay to have this streamed, or do you want me to
It's, I don't really mind.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so I see that I see that you went with the you had mentioned you did decide that you had said the fire start.
Is that not what you wanted?
I have
I
to be
may have-
entirely honest with you.
I've. Sorry, go on.
I really like the cause the thing is I'm totally fine. I actually also I can also flavor it with this one as well, because I like both I really like both backstories. I also really like the bird thing, because honestly I think it would be really interesting to play, really
So-
fun to role play as well.
I completely. I've misunderstood. So when you were talking about the bird thing, about the mechanical side of things,
Yeah.
I thought it was referring to you saving the birds and then them becoming your protectors to a certain extent. And so the birds you saved were like the birds that you now sort of. I don't want to say it this way, but like use, I guess.
No, I understand, but you're I think I see what you're doing. You're connecting both of those together.
Yeah, which
Am I right in that?
Yeah, I may have just misunderstood what your
Originally,
intention was.
Originally, I wasn't agreeing with that. I was actually I was like, I see these two things as two different events, not connected at all. But honestly, I think if you're okay with it, I would love to connect them. And
Yeah, that was my intention. I thought that was your intention originally when we
I
which
thought I had them marked off as two separate ideas.
Oh, apologies.
And,
Well,
and on top of that, I thought we were going to be the ones telling our own stories. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll just explain it. And then I'm like, oh, he's explaining it.
well, so apologies first of all.
No worries. It's fine. It's okay.
Hopefully it's not messed up anything in terms of.
It's not. Honestly, it's gonna. I actually really like this.
Okay.
I can absolutely work with this.
Okay.
My storytelling brain is exploding right now. If you understand. I am writing
That's okay.
I am partially writing an entire myth around Levada. I'm
Cool.
trying to think of
I
a
like
better
that.
name than the bird lady.
Yeah, the bird lady doesn't quite give off
It
the right
doesn't.
theme or feel. So yeah, I was originally going to have some interaction with it, but then I realized that it might detach from the storyteller aspect of it and the legend of it. The way that it is now, we can change some things, we can add some things, we can take some things away, and just put it up to legend of the story that is your character or other people's characters. So yeah, I think I made that decision like there and then. I was going to have you and the rest of you sort of step in and define your character's actions or situations.
Yeah.
But then I just thought that if the words are coming from the character's mouth, so to speak, it makes it a little bit more real than it is legend or mythical. Not that it's not real, just it gives us the flexibility that that is, that comes with the with stories and whatnot.
Legends aren't always correct.
Exactly. Yeah.
Legends aren't always perfect.
Yeah, like
But
me telling the wrong tale.
It's okay though. I honestly, I like it.
Okay.
And I kind of want to keep it this way.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
And with how you have it, like how you had like they kind of became my protectors to a degree. Honestly, I'd say it's more of a friendship thing, as
Mhm.
weird as it is. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
more
yeah.
of a mutual respect kind of thing. Not
Yeah.
so much. Not so much. They feel as though they owe me their lives, so they
Mhm.
have to protect me because it's a mutual respect kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like I could call upon them, and then they would happily assist.
Hmm. And I'm hoping I didn't want to make it too obvious, but I'm hoping that in future when you first sort of utilize, again I'm speaking on it as a mechanical sense, but when you first utilize those birds, people will think back to that legend of you saving the birds and associate the two, as opposed to just like painting and being obvious about it and sort of shoving it in their face.
Absolutely. I totally understand. So by the way, when I was mentioning the whole scar thing, that's the plan. Entirely up her left arm.
Hmm. Cool. I like that.
Just like like it starts most prominently right below the elbow. It's like right there, like right below the elbow, and it just kind of wraps all the way up her arm and onto her shoulder blade.
How? Again, this is just a suggestion, but how do you feel if it? Do you say it's on the back?
Kind of like on the because
Okay.
the position I have marked as this is basically her throwing herself over
Mhm.
over them and hiding them away, and so she's right-handed, so
Mhm.
I'm gonna use the left hand because it's less important.
Mhm.
So that's why scars on the left side, and mostly on the back because running from fire.
How do you feel that the if you ever describe the scars, or if I ever come to describe them, how do you feel about them being described as almost feathery in the way that the scarring looks?
I fucking love that. I love that. Oh, I love that.
There you go.
I love that. So it's almost like a wing
Yeah.
rolling down my left arm. Oh, I love that. Oh, I fucking love that. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that.
Any other questions?
No, that was kind of my main one.
Okay.
Just wanted to clear
I
that up.
apologize. I apologize. I obviously misunderstood, but I'm
Honestly, I'm kind of glad you misunderstood. kind of
Cool.
glad you misunderstood. It,
Cool,
it
cool,
allows for more flavoring. I can
Yeah.
add more spice.
Nice. Right. Well. Oh. Well, Paul has just went BRB. But yeah, I guess I'll throw you back down there, and I'll wait for Paula to come back. But yeah. Paula's
Oh,
just went
cool.
missing.
Yeah, Paula just went AFK.
Yeah, we saw it in the chat. Like it's even worse because we just finished our conversation. Like quite literally just finished the conversation. And it's like, oh, okay.
Is anyone else wanting to ask any questions or speak about anything?
Well, I was gonna point out the comment I just sent you a message saying that I said my character was in the later years, and then I double checked the
Yeah.
age. I'm like, God damn, I'm old.
Yeah, that's fine.
How old is old?
Nearing my 4th century.
Well back.
But do you feel old?
This is the important question.
'Cause if you ask our captain on our team if he
Yeah.
feels old, he'd probably say yes, and then you put some booze in him, and he would probably say, "Who are you?"
True.
I was actually just explaining like if this whole order of Mordomu doesn't work out.
Mamoru.
Sorry, Mamoru.
Although Madamu sounds pretty cool.
That's from something. I just can't put it where, and I keep getting it mixed up. But like, if this order doesn't work out, like my character probably just retire and like go teach at the school or something, train combat. Like it's like his final years. Like, well, this is an opportunity. Might as well make it worth it.
Yeah.
Do something honorable one more time.
You're back, Paula.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. I actually, this is poor timing all around. I need to go to the toilet real quick. So give me a minute, and then when I get back, we'll pick up your questions, Paula. So 2 minutes.
Did you mention the groups? Yeah. Where is the group mentioned? Your campaign?
Like on the World Anvil,
Yeah.
I believe, right?
Where about in the world, Anvil? Can't find it.
I'll pull it up for you. I know where it is. I stumbled on it yesterday, so it's still fairly fresh in my mind. I think we're on
Yeah,
the
go ahead and post that because I'd like to see it too.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the World Anvil too much. I like looked at it right away to kind of give some feedback to Adam about how to look at things. I can't remember if I added like my character's family page on it or not, or if that was the last site he was using. I think it was the last site he was using. I didn't do anything with World Anvil.
Sure. And there's the actual link coming through now.
Awesome, thank you.
Put it right at the bottom.
Thanks. Oh, on the star line.
Wait, what's that?
The Shattering. Ah.
Two books.
Oh, I see where you mentioned.
Our group was mentioned. Specifically.
Yeah, I can. Got it.
I'm just looking at the other timelines, possibly to see if any other groups are mentioned.
Looking for that earlier. I'm not sure what any of your names are though, if you've got group names.
Yeah, well, like everything earlier isn't relevant because we're all in the same kind of time.
Yeah, around the same time.
Yeah.
Good.
So it wouldn't be any earlier.
Well, the last one was only a year
None
ago.
of none of the rest of us have achieved anything of note, clearly.
Well, nothing that's been recorded yet.
Yeah.
But I believe
I mean,
the Ruins of Almeri group is called Talon, right?
Yeah, we are.
I can confirm that none of you, apart from the Almiri's Lament, have done anything noticeable.
Zovian held in a bar fight.
That is true. Zovian did heal in a bar fight.
Wasn't that like session 4? We're still on that.
wait, what?
It was pretty early on.
It was pretty early on, and
That's just being a poor sport.
Yeah.
I called him out on it, and I didn't think it would stick for so long, but it's one of the funniest things.
It's created this lifelong meme.
That's his legacy.
Yeah.
If
Whenever
we
it's
remember
mentioned,
anything.
there's a harmony of wows that come out because he healed in a bar fight. So,
Yeah.
and every NPC that hears about it just reacts by saying wow.
Oh, so you're one of those fighters, huh?
Yeah, basically. Wow.
What, like, chugged a fucking healing potion in a bar fight?
Oh no, he cast a spell.
Yeah. It was the first time he got hit too, wasn't he? He got knocked. He
Yeah.
got knocked out, and then he immediately just healed himself.
Yeah, basically.
Oh shit! It was so funny. Haven't let him down. Let him let it down since.
I love that. That's great.
But yes, the shattering is certainly noteworthy for the undesirables. I will say that to be fair, because this is more specifically the Almuri timeline, isn't obviously going to be relevant for the dormant group, as they're on Akron So once I get the Akron up, then perhaps some upcoming events may be relevant, like potentially staving off and fighting off a sandstorm ? And saving a city, maybe.
No one
Fighting a
needs to know
sandstorm,
who unleashed the
fisticuffs style.
sandstorm. That's important.
I
Like,
just want to know.
Yeah.
I need to know about the sandstorm. That's all I need to know. I just
Okay.
need to know about it. I'm gonna watch the stream later. After this is over, I'm gonna watch the
Oh,
stream
yeah.
so I can catch up. But like, what the fuck did you do?
I just want to say, Talon has done things. We're just the only ones that we've known that have done it. And,
Well,
we're about
yeah.
to kill our witness to our great deed.
I would say you've done so. Talon is actually probably the most accomplished group, I would say, but they haven't done it in the eyes of the king, for example.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that we've done some pretty outrageous stuff,
Yeah.
but we're the only. It's like when you're hanging out with your friends and you do something incredible, and you're like, no one's gonna know.
No one's gonna know. No one was
No one's
recording.
gonna know. Dude, come on! The lens cap was on. What the fuck?
That shattering was well deserved because it cost us our cleric. May he rest in peace. And also sleep good tonight because he's still alive.
Yeah.
He came back again.
Again. Rescued once again. Alright, Paula, you said that you had a question. Do you want me to throw you in the secrets?
Yes, please.
Alrighty.
Also, oh, no, that's fine. Do your thing.
Hello.
Hi.
Is this so private that you want me to turn off the voices on stream, or are we good to?
Oh no, it's all good.
Okay.
It's not really because that's fine. You kind of got my backstory with the wrong one. And I
Oh
just wanted to know if you
no.
could quickly rewrite it because I can rewrite it quickly to match the little kid one.
Wait.
But,
What was this one? Let me get out.
the-
Oh God, I'm
It was
useless.
the rival one.
I am so sorry.
Good. It's all good. I was just like, I can quickly rewrite this because I did have the idea in my head already, but I was like, if we are, I need to flesh that out quickly.
Yeah, this saving your opponent.
I'm happy to stick with the kid one. Like
It's
the kid in combat. Yeah.
It's obviously it's up to you. I can make changes and make sure that there are that we acknowledge those changes before like the first session, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's 100% up to you, naturally.
Well, I wasn't sure if like the little child one worked better, because that's why I'd switched back to the rival one, which she said that probably would work better in the world. But yeah.
In world, both fit. So like, the idea of a child or whatever being incorrectly or harshly punished could happen. And the act of someone competing in a trial by combat would cleanse them of any sort of punishment that they would have faced otherwise. So like the child one works. I don't know why I specifically had that one in my mind as the one that you...
I think it's the last one we spoke about, but
yeah,
at the time,
that might be.
Yeah.
It, as I say, it's completely up to you. Both work. Yeah, it's 100% up to you. I can only apologize for messing up.
It happens. It's all good. It's been a few weeks since we last spoke about everything.
Yeah.
This whole thing getting kicked off has been a bit crazy.
I'm also now kicking myself because, really, I should have just spoke to everyone about their inciting incident just to make sure that it was
sort
right.
of kicking myself for that as well.
Yeah. But it is up to you. Like, if you want to change that, then you can. If you want to rewrite things so it fits, then naturally you can. I was saying to the Evander as well that, like, because I had this idea and I was potentially going to have it more interactive, but when I started, I realized that if I was to have it interactive, then it would cement the legend a little bit more. Like, this is legend; it's meant to be, quote unquote, meant to be a tale that may be true, it may not be, and so there's sort of room there for changes or differences if something like this, I guess, arose. So like, if you wanted to change certain details, then that's fine. These legends are what the other characters know, so you know all about these other characters, and what you know is what I've said. But that isn't necessarily the case, and it's the characters, you know, it's up to all of you, the players, to decide what I said, a part of like what I said was true or not. The story could have been changed in some way if you still wanted to keep that opponent / sort of enemy, what's the word I'm looking for, angle, I guess, prominent in that conversation, or in that history, that legend, then perhaps the legend got turned into a child because it made it more, I don't know, empathetic for a character to save a child over saving just a person. But it's up to you, I guess, how you want to approach it.
So what I'd actually had written down for her, just to go over it, because I think I did this a few weeks ago. I was rereading it myself recently, and I was just adding to it from what we just learned, was that she basically grew up, I figured she'd probably grow up within the order of, oh god. Adam,
Ziggy?
help me pronounce this. Ziggy, that's it. Thought so, but terrified. Yeah, and that she probably would have grown up beside the rival. And then when they got older, I wasn't quite sure, but the idea I had down was that she would have been sent out to like fulfill a mission of some sort, or something that they would have asked her to do that required her to work with them for the first time. They'd butted heads in adulthood even. And then they did in fact butt heads because basically her rival was a bit of a cocky, egotistical asshole at times, even though they weren't a bad person and were honorable. They got caught up in their own ego at times.
Okay.
And she in turn got caught up in her own ego, and against the very specific orders of their elders, they split up, which I figured may have worked okay for her because she got somewhat lucky in the fact that she was able to get the actual job done. But upon returning, like on her way back, she found her rival in some rather serious trouble, which is when she was faced with the choice: save him and die, or leave him and get back.
Okay.
She obviously picked save them, so I wasn't sure how much of that would actually fit.
So, again, I will preface this with it's completely up to you how you want to do this, but as I've sort of alluded to, you are one group that is potentially being recruited to be the Order of Mamoru. My idea of the order was that there's 6 spots, but I think for my own peace of mind, it would make sense that I just say it's 5 because there's going to be 5 players now. So like, there's going to be your group, and then there's going to be other groups. And the idea is that there was going to be sort of a rivalry between those groups anyways, because again, as I said at the beginning, like, you're not competing against one another in your group. It's either your group or another group that gets this opportunity to become Mamoru. And if no one's good enough, then a decision isn't made. They will find more people, new people to fill the boots of the Mamoru. So again, it's up to you. The opportunity for that rivalry can still exist in a more interactive setting in the game itself, where we could say that your rival got put into one of the other groups, and we can play that rivalry out there as opposed to it just being part of your backstory to a certain degree. Or we could change the quote unquote inciting incident to fit what you had written down. But it's up to you. I mean, the information in regards to the core of the backstory of you being part of that order, having this rivalry, even that incident itself could still be part of your backstory if you wanted it to be. And so there's this like weird, awkward rivalry / sort of just this tension between you and your rival if you come into contact with each other, because there's this rivalry. They're a dickhead, but also you saved their life, so it's like a conflict. But then there's also the idea that it's either you or them, essentially, in terms of who gets the honor of becoming Mamoru. So it's like a very complicated relationship to a certain degree.
Yeah. I was about to say, that would actually really fit with some of the stuff I had written down and should have run by you now that I'm actually rereading it. Because now I'm kicking myself.
It happens. It's been busy. I know you've been busy as well, so.
Yeah, it's been insane. But what I basically had them was like, she picked to save them, but obviously still suffered some rather serious injury. She's not a god. And was like fully prepared to die because she figured her rival would probably just grab whatever the mission was. I wasn't sure what they were actually supposed to be doing that got them in this trouble and all that, but instead of leaving her for dead and claiming this success for themselves completely, which is sort of what she expected him to do, he instead actually carried her back to safety and then owned up to the fact he messed up, that, you know, he did that. and which would make sense if they both sort of, both fucked up, both sort of did the right thing at the end of the day. I guess it would make sense that they both would have caught the attention of the Order. So him being in a different group, since they don't get along, would make sense to some extent as well.
Yeah.
They might have had their right.
So I think, as I say, it's completely up to you. For continuity, there's nothing stopping us from having both of those scenarios. You are a person that has lived in this world after all, so there's probably more than one incident that could have got the attention of these people. It's just, again, without magic, there's no ability to cast sending, so information is as slow as it passes from person to person type of thing. Moving from city to city and whatnot obviously slows that down. But in your situation, it could just be that maybe it's the events that happened with your rival just didn't catch the attention of the daimyo, but the other thing did. The sort of standing in place of the child. It's up to you how you want to do it, but there's certainly nothing stopping us from entwining both, and then obviously going forward we can play with the rival and that tension between the two of you when you come to encounter one another.
Easy enough. I could always swing it in the backstory to be like, maybe they sort of had heard of her at least by that point because she'd caught some attention within her own order, but because she had in turn broken the rules by splitting up as well and letting her own shit, they're like,
I mean,
and then she pulled the stunt with the kid, and that was like, okay, maybe we'll give her a shot. To
be honest, when you're describing the tale of your original idea of the rival, the first thing that came to my head was I don't know if the Order would be too keen on someone who specifically disobeyed orders, because that's kind of their whole shtick is being ordered to do certain things. So that might actually work out quite well. Again, I apologize profusely. I'm so sorry.
It's so good.
But I think if you're okay with it, then if we entwine both of those things into the same character, the same history, the same backstory, it's just one event happened, the other event happened. I do like the idea that they did catch wind of you and your rival, but as you say, they sort of looked at that disobeying of your order as maybe the reason as to why the incident occurred in the first place. If you had been together, then maybe
we would have been okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So they look at that and go, yeah, it's good that you sacrificed yourself, but you got a lot more to learn before you get the opportunity to step up and do what we need you to do. And then, days, weeks, months, years, however long later, you step in place and sort of pay the ultimate sacrifice, or willing to pay the ultimate sacrifice in almost a situation that you have nothing to do with. You have no personal gain, bearing, or hold in. You don't really I mean, we can have it so the child or whatever, but I think a selfless sacrifice in this situation offers a little bit more than sacrificing yourself for your sister or whatever.
Yeah, no. Dashana's definitely the sort that would see a kid that looked on the street and just go for it. Yeah. Especially if she'd gotten the reprimand 6 ways through Sunday from her own order for breaking her honor somewhat. She'd be like, well.
Yeah.
She's probably doing the introspective gap year situation at that point.
So yeah, as long as you're okay with that and you're willing to shift some things around in terms of your backstory and just sort of amalgamating them both, then I'm okay with that too. And I apologize again.
No, it's fine. just gonna be fun for these people to be like, wait, why is she not getting along with that one guy from that
Yeah.
one team who seems perfectly fine to deal with? And be like, you don't understand.
But with that said, if you wouldn't mind at some point, whether it's preferably this, like, in the next week or so, but it doesn't have to be in the next week. If it's going to be the week after, then fine. But if you can send me over whatever information you want or can in regards to your rival, and then that way, with that said, you don't have to come up with any information. But if you have, like, even if it's just a name that you have an idea
Yeah,
of, or okay, tell you what,
Already
send
got it.
send me. You don't have to send us it right now, but like, send us a message at some point. I'll maybe send you a reminder throughout the week or something. Just in case you
Probably
get too
it to
busy.
by tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm free for the next couple of days, so yeah, I'll
Cool.
probably get it to you before our session tomorrow. In that case.
Cool.
Yep.
But yeah, if you just send me a physical description, or if you don't want to go that far into it, just the name or whatever you want to send me, just send me, and
Yeah, sure. Easy peasy.
I'll pick that up, and
Sure.
then I can sort of include them in, as I say, one of the other sort of recruits.
I swear this guy's supposed to be at least honourable, so
Yeah, you can be a dick and honourable at the same time.
yeah. But yeah, alright, no problem.
Well, I apologise again.
You can stop, Adam. It's all good. Seriously.
Okay.
I really should have spoken to you when everyone else was anyway. But yeah, I just completely spaced that I'd even given you a second option until you were saying, I'm like, oh no, damn
Yeah.
it, Paula.
Well, we can only learn from our mistakes.
Okay, it's given her a more interesting backstory. I'll take it.
Anything? Do you have any other questions? Or are you okay?
No, I'm okay.
Alrighty.
That
I'll,
covered everything that I needed for the merging of them. So we're
Cool.
good.
Coolio. I'll throw you back in there then.
I don't have a lot of it, but I write
Hello.
stories and stuff in my free time, and I totally understand the character creation because you have to, just whole new identities and stuff.
Welcome back.
Any-
We're talking about writing. I heard
Anyone
someone
else?
talking about
Yeah.
Reist, you said that you wanted to.
Flesh out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Is this like a 5-minute conversation or like an hour conversation?
Well, I mean, last one was 5 minutes. I think this one might be just as fast. I just
Okay.
need to flesh out some details.
Cool. I'll throw you into the secrets in 2 minutes.
So,
Hello there.
The legend part that you said pretty much matches up with what I had in mind, even though I didn't explicitly, like obviously the magic band thing. So that's where the idea came from. So I thought a little bit about how the progression might have been, and I think basically the way that he would have been noticed by the daimyo is not so much noticed by the daimyo, but as he got some renown within the the mercenary or the bounty hunter circles as somebody who would take these contracts that others would avoid perhaps or not return from. When the new daimyo was appointed and he had this very important job, he asked for to find someone to get him the best, basically. And I'm also thinking that, well, why would he want one person? And that might be because of honor things, right? There was one mage.
Yeah.
You can't send an army after him. Not very honorable.
Agreed.
So that's I imagine that he was probably approached by the previous Mamoru and told that the new daimyo wants you.
Cool.
Since this seems to be in the transition period, right? He just joined the old one are still there helping him.
No,
He
I
was really scared when he was summoned. It's like, oh my god, what the hell's going on here?
this is it. I'm dying.
Yeah.
But no, I actually quite like that. What I will be doing probably over the next week is writing up onto the World Anvil, ironically, the previous members of the Order, and sort of fleshing them out as a because they'd be somewhat known to the city.
Right.
They'd be respected and sort of looked up to. So what I'll do is when I've done that, I'll give you the person that would have approached you, because there would have likely have been some I don't want to say like they would have tried to guide you, because that's what they do as Mamoru. They are there to guide people in the right direction. So you would have learned a little bit about them in terms of the person that they are. So like I'll send you some information once I've got that all up on World Anvil. But I really like that idea, because it gives you a connection with one of those NPCs before you even sort of step into the role, shall I say? So
Cool.
cool.
I don't know. Maybe I'll put together a small piece about this job, just so that I have something if people ask me. I'll
Mhm.
send it to you, but I don't know if I'll get around to it.
That's fine. I'm about to go into it before we disperse, or at least before I disperse and get some breakfast. But the idea of that little intro is that's what you know about everyone else's legends.
Right.
So like,
Yeah.
there might be certain details about yours that isn't there, or certain details might be wrong. But like, the idea is that is what caught the eye of the daimyo, and that's what sort of you all know about each other going into this. So yeah, but I'll go into that for everyone's sake in a minute as well.
Yes.
Shit. Sorry, go on.
Yeah. Thanks. Good.
Anything else, or are you good?
No, that's good.
Alrighty. I will shove you down there then, and I will join you in a second.
God forbid.
Yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely,
Hello.
I would do that. Hello.
All right.
Hello.
My cats are becoming restless. I think they want food.
I know.
I know. I guess I just mentioned it there to Reist, but to mention it to you all. I think I mentioned it to Darshana as well. But the idea of these legends that I went through there, these are legends that you would all know about one another as well. So this isn't just like a bit of flavor for the stream. Like, you're going into this order knowing who you're being grouped up with, and these are the legends that you've heard about those individuals. With that said, there's certain aspects of the legends of your own that, you know, may be wrong, or there might be details missing, or there might be just something incorrect about it, which obviously gives you as your character to roleplay, and for other characters to roleplay the idea that the legend is A, but the actual events is B, C, and D. So yeah, just something to keep in mind, that you're going into the first session having at least this sort of romanticized idea of who you're going to be coming up, not against, but like working with, I guess. So yeah, just something to keep in mind. I guess I will offer the floor once again. If anyone has any questions, now is your time. Otherwise, well, say now is your time as if there's not 2 weeks to ask the questions as well. But if you have any questions, by all means, fire them away.
Well, I had something, but I'm just like, I'm not sure if I should talk to you about it. I'm not sure if I should do this in private, or if I want to talk about it verbally. But I guess I feel like enough, like, because what we had talked about, I feel like enough people would know about that part of it,
Mhm.
to maybe have inspired a slight name, which
Yeah.
I
So just to jump in, a lot of people have little names, which I guess it might have been a good idea to have mentioned them in the legend. But I know some of you didn't have them, so I didn't want to give some of you names and some of you not.
okay.
So like, by all means, think of your names.
If I since I have.
By all
it.
means, yes, please, yeah.
All right, so. Okay, so.
Anticipation is killing me.
This is how I have it spelt.
Okay. So I would just like to say that originally you had it coined as Bird Lady.
Mm-hmm.
Just for context for everyone.
I did originally have this coined as Bird Lady.
But we acknowledge that isn't a good name.
Yeah, it's not a very good name.
That's a
Just
great
shorten that down to
name.
30. What
But
the?
this is what I
Okay.
decided to come up with.
Can I call
Is
you
that a
Bird
Street
Lady?
Fighter move?
Don't worry, I have
That,
a
that
shorter
looks
name.
like a Street Fighter move.
I have a shorter name.
Okay.
Name that's more easy to remember. Anyway, it's
How you say
the
Krikyu?
full name would Hise Kirekyu.
Okay.
Hise Kirekyu. However, be shortened to Ise.
Ise.
Spelled like this.
Okay.
Basically, it's a slight amalgam. It's a slight combination of 3 words: fire, wagtail, and woman. Actually, savior. Apologies, and savior. So, I know you might understand where the wagtail comes from.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. Hise, he is fire rather. Sekire, is wagtail, and then Q is a shortened version of savior, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Which is a shortened version of the word savior. However, savior is really long, and I didn't want to do that, so that's why I decided to shorten it to this.
Cool.
Basically, it's savior of the burning wagtail.
Nice.
Is what is what it's going to be translating to.
I love it.
But yeah, that's where that comes from. That's the name. That's what she might be known as every now and again. People might call her that.
Excellent. Does anyone else have any titles or names that they want to share?
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah.
You can shorten her name, but she'd never answer to it.
I know. Yeah, Balshaw had one, didn't he?
Yeah, he was nicknamed Silverblade in his squadron.
Oh, I can call him Silver? Or do I get the whole word?
So he said Silverblade?
Yeah, Silverblade. He said Silverblade.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sorry, did you hear? Oh, it doesn't matter. I'm
No,
confused with
I
that.
sort of half heard it for a second there, but then
Okay.
it clicked.
Okay.
Fine, I've got a lag for a second. Sorry.
Okay. No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I was actually also gonna say you'll probably hear it be called out, but I've actually already said it in the chat as well. Leovanda will refer to her bird as Anda every now and again, so she usually goes by Leo or Ise. Just depending on, well, not necessarily depending, it's just depending on the person. It's more or less their choice. What they know, what they've known her as. So if they don't know if the legend around her, then they likely call her Leo. Otherwise, they call her Ise or Ise Kirekyu. Sorry, it takes a moment.
I've got a lot of practicing to do over the next 2 weeks. Mainly just with your character, Leovanda.
Apologies.
It's all good.
I'm sorry about that. I like complicated shit.
It's all good. I like it. Gives me something to do.
But yeah, I was thinking like Silverblade is just slightly less known. So I leave it up to your guys' characters if you would have heard that.
I think Rice is on the surface such an ordinary dude that he never really got a nickname yet.
I mean, I would
We'll get
argue.
one for him.
I would argue that this is the type of name that you don't get to decide.
Yeah,
You do get to decide because it's your character, but like with it being, this is more so the name that's surrounding the legend, and the legend is to a certain degree out of all of your guys' control. Like, you don't have control over the
Well,
tale that defines who you are or whatever. So
If somehow he finds out that there's a nickname floating around,
okay,
he'll have to deal with it. But
okay. Basically, Adam, you think of the bloody nickname because I don't want to.
like maybe he doesn't have one yet.
Okay, who knows? I do.
He's like, oh, you see, easy, you know.
I'm sorry.
Be careful how much power you give the DM.
I'm sorry. I absolutely love the two of you. I love the discourse between you two. I fucking love it.
It's
like you can tell y'all have known each other for a while. You can tell.
which is ironic because I guess we kind of we have to a certain degree in the sense that it was only a few months after the original campaigns that the third group was assembled, shall I say? But then it all crumbled and fell apart. We went through a lot of hardship. Me and Sabo, and Jakar.
You want to learn another name? It's Sabo.
Sabo, see? I know him so well that I can call him the incorrect name that it doesn't matter.
Get your homework done.
Fuck me, right? But yeah, it's done with love. Anyone else have any names, any titles, or whatever it might be?
I'm gonna have to look it up now because someone just reminded me that my dear friend Adam, my dear friend that I have to write about, would probably have named her something less than Stella.
There's that, yeah.
Unless you want to come up with that, that's fine by me.
I mean, if you want to, I don't mind. But let me know.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I'll
probably knew anyone.
I'll probably just come up with a name like Dickhead. So it's probably best you deal with it.
You could come up with
you
something
can't copyright
really
infringe me
offensive.
like that, Adam.
Oh,
You could come
will.
up with something
Yeah,
like
no, I
really
will.
offensive without actually it sounding offensive. Like
What?
one
I
of my
don't wanna
favorite
do
things
Just
to do.
Japanese,
One of my
easy.
favorite things to do is because I do know a bit of Spanish. A really fun thing to do is come up with really creative insults in Spanish. Fucking. It's great.
Do I need to mute my stream right now? Are you gonna say something that's gonna get us
No.
banned or something?
No, it wouldn't get banned. It wouldn't
Okay.
get banned. It's
He's
just
gonna
that-
piss off the cartels.
No,
Okay.
piss off any cartels. No, here's like you might hear it, but like I've noticed this. It's starting to become more popular. People will just like say a random curse word and then a fruit and refer to somebody.
What sort of circles do you hang around in that this is becoming
So,
common?
my someone who is the only thing separating us is blood. But my older brother and my older sister are both well, my older sister's Hispanic, my older brother's Native American, and his dad's Hispanic as well. And I just like I hang around a lot of Hispanic circles. I grew up in not a Hispanic household, but a Hispanic neighborhood.
You know what? I do take it back a little
I
bit
just-
because
I just grew up with that.
if I'm going to insult someone, but I don't want it to be maybe there's children about, I think I would go to fruit. I think I would call someone like a banana or something.
I was just thinking that.
Aren't you
Like-
British though, Adam? I'm
Here's
sure
the-
you'd call him a
here's the-
sausage. as a Brit.
I'm offended.
What you do, you use Scottish slang because you can't tell what the fuck they're saying.
That's true.
The only reason I know is because I've been really good friends with a Scottish guy for like 5 years now, and I've learned everything. And
That's
some of the
great.
insults don't make any sense if you don't know. It's just like, oh, you're just saying words that don't mean anything.
Like honestly though, because that's
That's
the
all
thing is
words.
they sound like they don't mean anything. They sound
Yeah.
like they don't mean anything because you are
Scottish
literally
people
calling
sound
them.
made up.
Because like here's the thing is the same thing. It's the same thing with Spanish. Like you will literally call someone, like you'll call them a fucking like you'll call them a fucking pineapple or something, and then like white people will stare at you like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Like they'll get so mad about it. And you're only calling
Like,
them pineapple.
I raid with an international
It's so
WoW
good.
group, so I hear some interesting words in multiple languages.
Yeah, it's great. Some of the most, like, honestly, some of the most common insults aren't even insults. It's just a random object and a cuss word directed at a human person.
Sometimes they're the best ones.
It's the best. It's the best. It's the best. Especially when people don't understand what you're saying. They just get pissed. They just get mad because you're not speaking English. Ah.
Listen, the internet was made in America. You're gonna speak English.
God.
Oh god.
Oh God.
Oh,
Right.
Oh,
With that said, does anyone have any further questions?
Pertaining to the game, I assume.
Yes.
got so many
I love
questions about the fruit thing, but no, otherwise I'm good.
I will say it's quite nice because we have at least one person from every campaign in this.
I will happily answer your fruit questions.
Cool, we'll talk later.
Well, yeah, hold up. I want to hear these questions.
Oh
Well, then
no.
stick around.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
I also might need your help coming
Okay,
up with a
Adam, you
perfect
can
insult.
go.
Yeah,
we'll talk about fruit.
I need to do anything
cat.
but yeah, I do need to feed my cats. So I will leave you all to talk fruit.
Yep, I'll send you
Enjoy.
anything if I have any questions later.
Yes, please do. If anyone has any questions or if they just want to run anything by me or gather any
I'll DM
information,
you if anything comes out.
yeah, if there's any
I'll get that
groups,
info to you.
like if you want to be
Okay.
associated to any groups, for example, in terms of, for example, like Reist, if you want him to have been associated to like a mercenary group, whether it's the Feathered Yoroi or okay, well there you go.
Like,
But
just,
just a solo, that's fine,
yeah, just
totally fine.
like,
It's forever gonna be some dude. That's gonna be the gimmick, isn't it?
well,
Jimmy is supposedly a cleric.
Well, watch the VOD. Watch the VOD because that actually came up.
I'm gonna like after this. Put it on.
But yeah, if anyone wants to talk anything other than fruit, please, then by all means, my messages are open.
Don't worry, I'll keep the fruit here.
Okay, yeah, keep the fruit in this chat. All right, I'll speak to you all later. For the majority of you, I will speak to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, catch you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you later.
Bye.
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 All right, that was a good session 0. Successful. We'll call it successful. But yeah, we've got our party established. I might cut out from the VOD the sort of legend that is the Order of Mamoru, or at least these recruits, and have it as like almost like a little intro. But we'll see. Yeah, thanks for all who stopped by, who dropped me a follow and got involved in chat. I appreciate it. And yeah, just as a note, I will be streaming tomorrow, 10th of October, Sunday. That is at 8 AM BST and 4:30 PM BST. Those are 2 different campaigns. That's the Almuri's Lament and Ruins of Almuri. And then after that, I'll be streaming on Thursday, the 14th, which is the Adornment Orenda. And then we'll be back to Order of Mamoru on the 23rd. So 16th is no game. 23rd, 8 AM BST for Order of Mamoru Session 1. Where we finally get officially introduced to the characters themselves and not just the legends that surround them. But yeah, I will speak to you all later.